just, again, upgrading the GM base
Hmm.
and then training and developing and working with those people, but not just, putting them through training and throwing them in the store and leaving them. See through their training to make sure that they had the knowledge to run the restaurant without, being so frustrated they just left. Didn't stop the revolving door, and that was the problem.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Um, yeah, that reminds me. In the same area, like that providing your managers, your general managers, area directors with the necessary support that they become independent leaders. Does that also involve you recommending them more formalized training that, hey, I think you should consider getting this course or this certification or,
Absolutely,
more?
absolutely. Like, I would work with someone and say, okay, you really need to, work on Excel spreadsheets. So I suggest you, take a course um, to help with that. And they would even have courses at the corporate office that they could
Nice.
take there. But I suggest you just so that you could, you know, uh, formulating the email to make sure it's professional, or working on the back office to understand it. So yes, or I had someone that had a really heavy accent, so I was like, so maybe you could take an English class so that you more proficient. And I'm not saying that I pronounce every word correctly all the time, but so that you're more proficient in what you're trying to explain to them or convey to them, so that you
Mm-hmm.
can on that level. Because if English wasn't their first language, but they were really good in the business, it was
Mm-hmm.
worth it, to have them and to invest that time in with them.
Yeah, it's basically just like breaking down the barriers that are stopping them from hitting their full potential as leaders.
You got it. You got it. You could do this job, I think. I'd
Yeah.
hire you.
Thank you. That does fill me with some confidence. The company does see me as a leader. Yay. Okay. So that is then great. So
Okay, there's one thing I want to talk to you before I forget and I hang up, because then I'm going to kick myself. But I mean, I've been in the restaurant business since I was 15 years old, and I
mm,
had my first store as a GM at 19. Who would give a 19-year-old store is beyond me, but that's history. That happened so long ago. So I mean, that doesn't even matter anymore. But it doesn't mean that I'm not open for a, a position outside the restaurant business, because I believe leadership and managing is leadership and managing, and no matter what business I would go to. So I'm not only just looking for, being an area director in a quick service restaurant.
okay. Okay.
I think that's important, because I don't want it to
Great.
be, the resume to be written to look like that's my only, I'm a one trick pony.
Yeah. I'm glad you told me that. Um, is there any other industry that you have in mind then?
Um,
Just so that I know how specialized should I make the
let's
language,
see. I mean, a franchise business consultant, which is kind of in the same line, but what they do is, say McDonald's, for example, they have a lot of franchisees, lots of them. So, but they need those franchisees to follow the company's policy. So they're actually employed by McDonald's, but they go out and coach the business owners on how to improve their business. It's always appealed to me. That's still in the restaurant business. But anything
Okay.
that would help me, anything that would use my skills of leadership, motivation, developing people, and that happens in more than just the restaurant industry.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm glad you told me that. That is definitely an important point. So I will
Yeah.
keep that in mind.
Okay.
Then a couple of last things about Del Taco. Can you tell me, like, usually speaking, like, you get offered a promotion because, like, hey, you did this one thing super, super good and we're going to promote you for that, right? So
Mm-hmm.
is that the case? What happened going from GM to area manager, area director, regional director?
Okay. In all cases, it was because of performance on sales
Perfect.
on developing a team, on
Perfect.
managing exceeding profit for the
Excellent.
company,
Per-
and guest satisfaction improvements.
Excellent. That's exactly what I wanted. So thank you. Very good. Um, okay. So other than what we've talked about, is there anything else that stands out? Like, that, oh, this is another thing I'd like to include, or this was a cool story, or this is an important skill.
I think I think we talked about most everything. The one thing I didn't answer you is any other training courses, and most of the things I've learned just by being in the business, and I've been in the business since so young. I didn't take a lot of outside courses other than I am ServSafe certified, which is just
Ah,
certified by the state to serve safe food and follow health procedures, and then HR training course, because we have to be certified in HR so that make sure that we don't, no one's mistreated, or there's no course sexual
ah,
harassment, or there's no so I've certified in HR training courses.
okay. The Safe Serve certification that you have, that's from like
State of
who's
Nevada.
state of Nevada? Okay.
Yes.
Uh, okay. And the HR training course is Del Taco.
Well, actually, I don't know who it was, but it's a company that they hired to teach us, so that they
Huh.
were covered. But I don't know the name of the company.
Could you find that out? Is that possible?
I
Or
could try to find it out and see if I can. Um, yeah, I'll
okay,
and if I find it, I'll give you the certificate. I'll give you the
perfect,
name on the certificate.
perfect. That'd be great. Okay, so that's that.
So we
Okay.
go through HR training courses every 2 years, just to make sure
Oh,
we're up to date with any laws changing, or I mean, well, you know how sensitive everything is with the Me Too. I mean, it should be, but the Me Too movement, we have to make sure that we stay, you know, up to date, and that we're staying in we're complying with the laws.
hmm, hmm. That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, so that's great. Um, okay, then lastly we have Taco Bell. Do you want to include this? Because like I am a little concerned given how far back we are. It might
Yeah, no, that's fine
raise.
not to include it. I didn't know if I should or not.
Yeah,
It's just so far back. I didn't know if I should, but otherwise it looks like I've worked at one place, and I don't know if that's bad. But
it's not bad.
okay,
Like
then
there's
that's
ways to demonstrate it, like because on the one hand it does show that, hey, this, like, Nancy is such a loyal person, like, as an employee, that she stayed with the company and helped